Thanks, Tim. It's an honor to be here, but not in my study. I mean with you virtually, but it's a bit of a circle too because I haven't lived in Ottawa since late last century, and I reflected over the past couple of weeks when we've been talking about this as well with some of the old Sod folks, and I've recollected in the dim depths of my memory the events and the feelings of the mid '80s through to the early '90s when we lived in Ottawa. There are times when we kind of look back and we think about a simple act that we did that changed our lives. Like maybe we read a certain book, or we took a walk in an unknown town, or a glance that was held a little bit too long, or in this case, walking through a door and attending a concert. So Nancy and I were new in Ottawa, and the concert was with Martin Carthy and John Kirkpatrick, a couple of people that we really wanted to see. And somehow, in the warmth of that Sandy Hill Community Center, with the glow of the stage lights and the sweet music and the laughter of the crowd and everything, and the friendliness of the volunteers, we saw the seeds of a community that would become a major part of our life. And never doubt that people can recognize a community when they see it. Sure, it took a while. Like we attended a few more concerts and people started recognizing us, and we'd get an additional nod, a snippet about the weather, which is always on the top of the agenda for Ottawa. Then more conversation probably, and we pitched into stacked chairs at the end of the concert, and that's probably a signal to somebody that we might be useful volunteers. And we started to help take tickets and at the door, and we carted cans of pop around, and the transition was well underway. And I'd studied cults in university. I thought I knew how they worked, but I was caught off guard, fortunately. Within what seemed like a short time, we were singing Sacred Harp, we were working at the concerts, we were putting up posters and making them. We're dancing in Hogsback Morris, we were doing radio shows on Music from the Glen, holding positions on the volunteer board. So for a while I was the kitchen director, mostly because I was hefty and I could lift the drinks. And then I was also artistic director for a while. And over time, we even mastered that final step of full integration into the Old Sod. We came to not only appreciate English tea, but we knew enough to put the milk in first. Now there's a real strength in community, in this supportive and the dense kind of network of respect and admiration and interactions. Like, as an artistic director, I always felt, well, I didn't at the time, but as I reflect, I felt that's the beauty of age, I knew the community, and that was the primary audience. And as an artistic director, I wasn't simply out there booking agents and bands and trying to find that line between booking the known and booking the potentially soon to be known, or whatever other category there was. It's a challenge, and it's ultimately frustrating, I think, to slavishly follow trends alone. Like, who would have known that early in 2021, shanty bands would be hot for a few weeks? But it's far better to know one's audience, one's community, and book from that strength. So I think by knowing the community and being part of that, it made it more comfortable to take chances as an artistic director or as a kitchen director too. I mean, you might underestimate the difficulties of trying to go with all craft beer in the late 1980s, and the comments I would get. But of course, as an artistic director, you'd still fret about each booking. You'd anxiously, pace the back of the hall as if to magically improve the outcome somehow. But it was clear that a variety worked, and the regular audience members usually gave you the benefit of the doubt. And after all, they were coming for the community and for the atmosphere as well as the music, and they just came to trust, as Mark said, that the variety would be there. I mentioned at the outset that this is kind of, for me, it's a kind of a circle as well, because after a quarter century in Newfoundland, I'm back in Ontario, and I find myself connecting to a few folk communities, new folk communities that do Sacred Harp singing, dancing, pub caroling sessions, ritual events, and things like that. And part of my ticket to entry to these places was that, well, for one thing, I knew some folks in Old Sod, but also I was a part of that community, and I had a basic understanding of how healthy folk communities can be good places to be, even in pandemics. So to conclude, as our capitalist overlords like to say, membership has its privileges.